Navient has been in business for over 50 years. And like many companies that are that long, we got a little long in the tooth in our technology base.
The foundation of what we had was all on-premise and built up over that 50-year history, all piled on top of each other. So really the migration to the cloud allowed us to really shed a lot of that underlying complexity.
We realized that we couldn't staff everything ourselves. So Presidio offered the service desk managed service offering to us. That actually allows us to have enough folks on the phone. It's very, very important to us for our own employees that everybody can get the help they need when they need it. Presidio also offered managed services in the world of operational support. Could they jump in and monitor the cloud environment for us?
Having the managed services there in our back pocket to supplement where there's either a skill gap or even for things with just, end user support, having more hands to the table.
They are able to handle a lot of the day-to-day activities that we would normally handle ourselves and not have as much time for the strategic work that's coming our way.
Them offering their expertise in other ways outside of just the initial cloud migration that we did with them really allowed and will allow Navient to operate more effectively. The transformation has truly fundamentally changed the way that Navient works.
So it really opens up and provides a lot more opportunities for us to look at the future and try to position ourselves better.
Our team gets to focus on what we consider the fun stuff. What's the new tech? The standard work is being handled by managed services, and our team now gets to focus on the future.